Well, that's phenomenal. Well, that's a great start. And now we just need it to not flop 10 minutes in like it normally does. Oh, I hate this card so much. I hate this hand is busted. I hate intensity so much, especially intensity that self-flickers. What is up, Spectre? So right now I'm working out all of my internal hatred with this Tachiova landfall deck while we wait for the roasties of today to show up, and then we're gonna move on to deck roasting. Yeah, Sean, every alchemy effect I've ever seen has been despicable. Interesting. I can take 3 to... I am absolutely holding up mana for this stupid-ass commander. Ooh, now we're kind of fucked. Okay. So if I skewed Swarm, I can't actually... They just make a bunch of mites. If they have removal, I'm still... I think we just have to play this, and then if they have it, and we lose the game. We could still Sludge Monster. Sludge Monster would still be a pretty strong fuck you. Oh, well. No, thank you. They also saw that coming. So they... Because they've seen my hand. So whatever... I mean, sure. I do not want you to have those mites. Sick as fuck. I think we drop this. And then we Sludge Monster this guy. And then we calmly ask them to go fuck themselves. Yeah, that's real. Yeah, I think we just play this out. And they'll play their commander next turn, but we're close enough that we can River's Rebuke pretty soon. What I really want is I want them to never trigger land tax. Ooh, a death trigger. How fucking brave of you. Do I have any? I do not. Yu-Gi-Oh! This is... I do kind of want to make a Nadu deck just to prove a point about how stupid Nadu decks are. Because that commander, anybody who hasn't seen, it's a new Simic ramp deck, and it's just so fucking filthy. It's so needlessly good. Also, oh my god, Kaalia, thank you for the Prime sub. Half a year now, Kaalia. Simic Saturday. Listen, we're just vamping before the deck roast, and I want to make other arena people feel bad. Necron Tier, thank you for the 4 months in a row at Tier 1. Welcome back to the dog home. I will be at MagicCon Vegas. Denied a creator pass, by the way, but I will be at MagicCon Vegas. Felix Royale, thank you for the 8 months in a row at Tier 1. Love everything you do here. You're a witty and good person. I absolutely loved your jokes during the indignity of the magic pun quiz. You had me rolling. Well, thank you so much, man. Listen, the only argument I'll make, I'm not necessarily a good person. I appreciate that you think so. I am witty, though. Okay, do we play... I think I might just play, like, fucking Coma. And ask them to kindly seethe. Yeah, kindly cope and seethe. Nelvana Ferrothorn, thank you for the 2 months in a row. Welcome back to the dog home. And listen, on Arena, anything goes. On Arena, nothing matters. Do crimes. Do what needs to be done to win the game. This deck is specifically for when I'm mad at people. So I definitely don't want to get punched for 7. That would be pretty bad for me. Mana value 1 or less. Okay. So they probably hit my, like, Scute Swarm and stuff. Oh! No, that was dumb. That was not a smart use of your Planeswalker. But whatever. If that's how you wanna run it, that's how you get to run it, my friend. Oh God. It's not looking good for us. I'll be real. Fucking. Okay. Please get all of that the fuck out of my face. I don't have any lands to put down, so I will just start swinging. This intensifies by 1 bullshit makes me so mad. I hate intensifies by 1 so fucking much. Yeah, I can't do anything about that. That's fine. We will tap this just so that they can't punch us with it. And then let's hope they discover bad. Oh, Bastion. That's still bad for me, but that's not world ending. I can... Oh no, this is permanent cards only. Yeah. So I cannot Rivers Rebuke them, unfortunately. Do I have... I almost have lethal. I think I will after I do this. Oh yeah, they're fucked now. Because we're just gonna tap down their blockers with our two little serpents, and then they die. Because we have 17 punchies. Shoulda, thank you so much for gifting 2 tier 1 subs. That's what happens. You play dumbass alchemy cards, you get dumbass alchemy consequences. Alright, it's been... yeah, Coma, fuck you, Noodle. I do hate Coma. I think it's a stupid card. And when you play on Arena, all you do is play stupid cards. Oh, what's up, Queer Phyrexia? Good to see you. I'm not getting out of the pit. I'm going to stay in the pit forever and ever. And we're going to get into the pit with the roasties for today. So today, on the docket, we have Major Spectre slash Dirge, Karma, Exalted Requiem, Mercenary Hamster, Deceased Skyrat, Nelvi, Jake, and Sverti. We're going to start with Major Spectre. For anybody that hasn't been to one of these, the things you submit to me, you give me a primer for your deck. That is an aspirational, what you want it to do /be / make other people feel like. You tell me if you want improvements suggested, and you give me a one-word description of what that deck is. You also give me a deck power level, but the only power levels accepted are silly, spooky, and scary. I do not listen to motherfuckers that attempt to use 1 through 10 because that is fake and bad. Silly, spooky, and scary, real and true. So they're primers. So 2 disclaimers mauled in chat. 1, I know you hate Eminence. 2, when I started playing Commander in 2017, I wanted to build this, but was advised to do Edgar because I'm an edgy motherfucker. With that out of the way, I present to you the deck that I am using / building for my friend's group version of Arch Enemy. Things to note, only one of us really plays borderline CEDH shit. For the most part, I personally play decks in the redacted range, occasionally a redacted. I like giant flying lizards, and I cannot lie, I just want to play big dragons so I can make shitty D's nuts puns. I respect it. This should probably use more dragons, but I don't know what I would cut, and the ancient dragons are off limits because they are cool. Also, the deck runs a fuckload of ramp, and due to Ur-Dragon, Temur Ascendancy, Rhystic Study, and Garruk's Uprising, it actually draws way more cards than you'd expect. Please help me turn these flying lizard boys into an unstoppable death squad. Well, you lose a lot of points for everything you tell me you're doing with that deck. The deck in one word is military. I do love Bad Dragon and Air Force Goon. That's winning me back over. Everything else is disgusting me. But Bad Dragon and Air Force Goon are going to get you a lot of points. So here's my thing, right? My general position towards decks is it's fine to have a strong deck. It is so easy to make a strong deck that the only thing that really impresses me nowadays is a deck that is strong while being thematic. So from your primer, I don't know what the fuck you've got a Rhystic Study in here for. Alright? I know why you put it in. But in terms of what you're telling me this deck wants to be about, I don't know what the fuck you are doing. There's no goddamn Tax Dragon. What's up, Magnog? Thank you very much for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the Doghouse. For anybody that wants to post a deck, it's through Patreon signups, which is in the YouTube stream description and can be pulled up on Twitch with ! roast. So we've got the Ur-Dragon, obviously. Aether Vial. Okay, cheat out dragons. Leyline and Guild Pack, sure, you're 5 color. Monster Manual. Sarkhan Unbroken is fucked up. That ultimate is disgusting. Okay, sure, just get Ur-Dragon out. 37 lands. Worth, yeah. Rent. Car payment, whatever. I'm gonna assume your lands are fine because I see you have Cavern. Mana fucking Crypt. Oh my. Dockside? Mana Drain. Urza's Incubator unfortunately does make sense because you are committed to this, to dragon gaming. Decadent Dragon is a cool dragon. Okay. Alright, you motherfucker. Goldspan Dragon is a cool dragon. Morophon is incredibly technically a very cool dragon because he's changeling. And then, Jesus, the Chat GPT. The Chat GPT sponsorship in these couple cards. Teferi's Protection. Raise the Palisade. Crux of Fate. I mean, Ruth is a cool dragon. I'll let you slide on cool dragons. Dragon Tempest is probably the single best card you have put into this deck, because it is not a card I've seen before, and is actually thematic with the deck. Farseek is not card draw. Corlessa, sure. I do like Scion of Draco. What the fuck is Seedborn Muse doing in here? Okay. So overall, you've simply been corrupted by the power creep. And oh, you're Aether Vialing and monster. Oh right, it's all permanents, not just lands. Yeah, Roaming Throne is a bitch. Mirim is in here. Sealamgar is in here. Hellkite Tyrant is probably good in here. Danny UG, thank you very much for the Prime sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. So I'm debating on whether or not to give you points on a lot of these cheatering things. I know one thing. You have basically no goddamn business playing Dockside in this deck other than, wow, is Dockside good? Same goes for Smothering Tithe. You are not... The only decks that can really get away with this are decks that can, it's some degree, argue to care about artifacts matter. But the rest, this is just the most generic good stuff. And you don't need it, is really the thing. Like, I think it's one of those good cards where I honestly kind of feel the same about Mana Crypt and Soul Ring, but this deck, the curve probably looks like a fucking, yeah, pure Italian cheese wheel curve. So I'm trying to think of how else you afford things. Oh, you do have a considering portion. Eldamri? Yeah, fuck you. I mean, Kozilek's Unsealing does make a lot of sense. Planar Nexus is... I don't know about that, because this is non-basics only. Peacecraft, it's not about Soul Ring and Mana Crypt not being on power level. It's also not about Dockside not being on power level. The general attitude I approach this with, and the attitude that is going to be consistent across all of these roasts, is I am always going to favor something that is specific to the deck's gimmick over something that isn't specific to the deck's gimmick just because it is generically very good. And so that's also why I talk about, like, Teferi's Protection. Like, this deck does not particularly care about phasing out, I don't think. It's just in here as a second copy of Heroic Intervention. And cards like that can be necessary, especially when it looks like this deck is... You know, this is not the deck that wants to interact. This is the deck that wants to be the problem. But the first cards I'm always going to take issue with. The first cards I'm always going to take issue with are cards that are, this is generic value piece number 37. Because I talk a lot about power creep, and power creep is so, like, the format as a whole is so creeped that you simply don't need generic value piece number 37 to make a good deck anymore. Like, that's really what I'm... And Troper, thank you for that assist in chat. So that's what I'm talking about. So I'm not saying Smothering Tithe is not good. I'm sure Smothering Tithe is very strong in this deck. I'm sure that Dockside is very strong every time it comes down. I'm sure doing like Mana Crypt shenanigans can be very strong. I'm just like, if you told me, if your first 3 turns were like, oh, I do land, Mana Crypt, I play an island, a Mana Crypt, and then a Rhystic Study, and then the next turn I play a Plains and a Smothering Tithe, and then the turn after that I play Dockside, and then I cast my commander, you could give people 87 chances to guess what deck that's for, and they would probably never fucking get it. So that is why, those are the things I roast, is I want your deck to have some flavor. I want to have, like, when you do mean things to me with your deck, I want to have a very specific memory of the bullshit that you did to me. And those cards are what takes away from a very specific memory of the bullshit that you did to me. Like Sarkhan Unbroken, I really like. I have a friend who plays Dragon decks. I haven't seen this card come down when I play against them. And it's not just about the card, you know, not being seen before. Like, I do like Monster Manual. Sarkhan these. Yeah, so I would say Door of Destinies is good. It's definitely generic to, oh, I'm running Kindred, but it is good. Temur Ascendancy is definitely good. Sarkandi's Nuts is fabulous. Never change. I do think Aether Vial is a more interesting way of approaching dragon cheating than I've ever seen before, so I will give you points for that. Scalelord Reckoner is great. How about Dragon Turtle as on-theme removal? Let's look at it. Oh, this is not true removal. Although I do kind of like it. I do think you need Fanatic of Ronas will probably work out. I hate to say it, but in 5-color, I'm on the edge of this one because it is just kind of too generically good. But Chromatic Orrery would probably be useful at your top end because it's 5 mana, draw 5. I took Aether Vial out of my Daddy deck recently. Horrible top deck past turn 3. I do agree with that. I think that Aether Vial presumably feels really, really good at the beginning of a game and feels really, really bad any time other than the beginning of the game. Wow. Does your table's got to be real friendly with these mulligans, huh? Let's see. We have 1 land, nothing playable until turn 5. So when you say this is, you play this in your group's version of Arch Enemy, are you the Arch Enemy or is it someone else? Do you get like 4 turns to hang out before anything serious has to happen? 37 lands, you're the Arch Enemy. How the fuck do you get... What are other people playing? Did other people, like, draft? Is it draft commons coming at you? Okay, so we are now 7 mulligans in. This is our first playable hand. So we'll keep this. We'll caverns. We're going to choose slivers. We have no turn 2 plays. So we're going to choose dragons again. We have a turn. Okay, we're gonna assume for our sake that we can make black, and we're gonna get some type of card advantage with Decadent Dragon. Turn 4, nothing to do. Turn 5, we probably have to board wipe. Okay, then we can start playing turn 6, Terror of the Peaks, 1 turn behind curve. Command Beacon, probably Morophon for dragons. Steam Vents tapped. Cheat this guy for 4. So turn 8, we've done something. I'll accept a little bit. I'll accept a little bit that Moxfield is screwing you. I think generally, if you want to be arch enemy, you need a villain plan. And instead of a villain plan, it seems like you have a collection. You are like a choose slivers. Right now, you feel to me like a G.I. Joe villain, where you have a villain plan, but your villain plan is kind of like, I'm just going to play something shitty on curve every turn. We will shock that just to pay that for Urza's, put a storage counter on that. Command tower. So this is 7, we're at 6. This is 5, so we can play a Tarka World Render. We play Balefire? We could play Balefire. So if we need to control the board, we could play Balefire. Now, if we're arch enemy against 3 people, sure, we can believe that Balefire is going to make it down. So, alright. It's coming together in my head. It's coming together in my head. This deck is the arch enemy, but you know how like Doctor Doom, what's the place that Doctor Doom owns in the Fantastic Four? Latveria. Like Doctor Doom owns Latveria. This deck is the ruler of Magical Christmas Land. I think it is sorely lacking in things that will consistently get you to this top end, and then you have a whole bunch of top heavy shit. Like you've got the cheese wheel curve, which works in draft, and I don't think it necessarily works anywhere else. Whereas Dance with Calamity and Apex of Power, I don't think you want Dance with Calamity or Apex of Power in this deck, because in this deck you're only going to get like one spell out of it. So we want something that cares about dragons. We want something that cares about dragons. We want something that cares about mana. Honestly, this orb, this particular dragon orb would not be bad for you, because giving Ur-Dragon haste or giving one of your combat trigger dragons haste is going to be highly important to getting things going. This is kind of middling. Honestly, the fact that you don't have Earthquake Dragon is a fucking crime if you're trying to play me when I have cool dragons, but I'm not going to play one of the coolest dragons in the game. So I'd also recommend Earthquake Dragon. Lapis Orb, mid as hell. Jade Orb, somewhat playable if you're doing archenemy stuff. I think Lausanne is probably middling. Requiem, you've not. We're still on the first deck of the day. Scaled Nurturer is probably too color specific, unfortunately. You do have Chromatic Lantern. You do have a shitload of ramp. But I think that Mana Drain being ramp is very cute of you. I've had games where I only drew rocks and no creatures. Okay. That's good to know. Then I think we should, instead of Rhystic Study... Oh, I'll tell you what. Let me put you on something. Evolutionary Leap these nuts. Like you have Alarin, I agree with you. It's a lot of, you have a lot of ramp, you have a lot of top end dragons, you have relatively few like good mid-tier things to play. And what we want to do to make this deck, if we want this to be an unstoppable death squad, we need to have a more focused top end, and we need to have a more reliable way to get to that top end through card selection. Anybody asking about how you get your deck roasted, it is a Patreon redeem. So I'm sorry to say it does cost money. It is a $25 tier available in the YouTube stream description, or if you type !roast in Twitch chat, and then I send you an email, and then we hook it all up. Honestly, Hellkite Courser is probably worth it just because this is so fucking goofy. I think the Ancient Dragons are very cool. Dragonlord Dramoka is very cool and useful. It is hard to find cuts because a lot of these things you do want to find. I think Wrathful Red Dragon is probably not good enough. I think Hellkite Charger is on the bubble for me, only because the time when it really works is when you are already winning the game. And it is a lot of mana to only start working when you are already winning the game. That said, it does have the potential to be a very good finisher. So it's on the bubble. I'm not convinced we cut it. I think you cut Hellkite Tyrant. In my opinion, you cut Hellkite Tyrant because the only real way... Hellkite Tyrant only works with 3 other cards in this deck, to my knowledge. It works with Old Gnawbone, it works with Smothering Tithe, and it barely works with Dockside Extortionist. Hellkite plus Old Gnawbone goes infinite. Oh, that is true. Well, that is again like... saying these 2 cards in my deck go infinite together and I don't have a reliable way to see either of them. Like, yes, we can keep that if we want the deck to be that mean. We do need to drop some of these other dragons then. So I would say, like, certainly Wrathful goes. I think Tyrant goes because you do not give a fuck about artifacts. The idea that this deck gives a fuck about artifacts is a brazen lie. And that said, I would also cut Tithe, and I would probably cut Dockside, and we're going to cut those for things that are going to look for creatures and more consistently get you to the actual good stuff that this deck is doing. The main way I've seen this deck win is either Critical Mass, Infinite, or Torment of Hailfire. Is that the power you want to be at? Like, do you want to be at this deck wins from an Infinite, this deck wins from Torment of Hailfire, or do you want to be, I'm going to beat you to death with a bunch of dragons holding hammers? Because that's a very important distinction. Like, you can build probably just punching my friends in the mouth. If you want it to be punching your friends in the mouth, we can absolutely do that, and it can be horrible, and we got to get rid of this fuck ass some of these fuck ass synergy pieces. So I would say no Dockside, no Smothering Tithe. I would get rid of actually, if you want it to be punching in the mouth, I would keep this stinky ass Infinite because it's very expensive. And so, like, if people are letting you do this, that's their fault. I would drop Hellkite Tyrant because it is a very, like, a lot of things have to be going right for you to win this way, and at that point you would rather just be punching people to death. I don't think we want Sneak Attack. We have a little bit of recursion. We do not have enough recursion to be so brazenly cheating these dragons out, or to be sacrificing our dragons. I'm also not currently convinced. I guess Atarka, if we're doing Atarka is just so woefully expensive. We do want to win through combat damage, so it does make sense, but it is woefully expensive. So let's make a list of... No, my Pal World files! Tithe, Study, Tyrant. You definitely keep Garruk's, that works really well for you. I would say Seedborn's on the bubble. Atarka is also on the bubble for me. How many typed lands do you have? I want you to keep... I want you to keep Draco because I do think it's a cool dragon. I think this is one of the most, like, thematic things you're doing. But we want better card draw, better card selection. I do think Door of Destinies is pretty slow for what you're doing. But it does probably win you the game at some point. So we definitely want Evolutionary Leap. Loop. So now we're going to have you... We're going to look for cards that will let us get to our dragons a little more aggressively. We have Dragon's Horde, or they have Dragon's Horde in the deck already. This is spoiled from Modern Horizons, but I don't know about Birthing Ritual because you're missing so much stuff in the middle. Draconic Muralists. This one's okay. Cream of the Crop would be interesting. Oh yeah, Troper, great call. You do want Doors of Durin. I'm going to say that's thematic because dragons were in Lord of the Rings. Doors of Durin. It's not dwarf or elf. Ooh, username malfunctioning. That's a good call, especially for archenemy. Defense of the Heart could be good. What's Lurking Predators? I don't know if Lurking Predators is that good with the limited amount of top deck control we currently have. Like, that's a thing that is very, very good once we have good top deck control, and very underwhelming when we don't have top deck control. Defense of the Heart, letting him get a stinky combo is kind of exactly what we want out of an archenemy deck, though. Forests we control does suck. That is a non-dragon, so we probably don't want it. Summoning Trap would be fucking funny. This would be a funny ass card. For the cases where you don't get your Cavern of Souls out. I'm not sure if it's quite strong enough to hold up in archenemy. Up the Beanstalk. Yeah, Up the Beanstalk would help you with this, like, cheese wheelian strategy you have. Let's see, 9, 17, 26, 27, 28, 29. 29 cards in your deck trigger Up the Beanstalk. We'll call that a synergy, right? I think the... Maybe let's tie this up in a bow. Well, I look at Minion of the Mighty. I don't feel particularly good about Minion of the Mighty, only because of the context that this is an archenemy deck, and I think that if you're archenemy, you maybe get one trigger off of this. You get 1 or 0 triggers, because the other 3 people are absolutely going to kill this thing. Like, you would rather have your, where's the thing? The monster manual ticking up. It does have menace, but like, nobody can deal 1 damage. Sunbirds could be funny if you want to do that, like, big sort of spiraling pseudo cascade. Oh, yes, I got fucked by a Fauna Shaman at a Pioneer game. Fauna Shaman would be a very good pseudo dork / tutor for this deck. Like, the first thing you need to get comfortable with if we want it to be an unstoppable death squad is you need to get more comfortable with tutors, and you just need to make sure that the deck is built as such that the things you are tutoring for are not the same every single time. And so especially if you're getting stuck with like, oh, I'm only drawing dorks, Fauna Shaman would be really effective at saving that game for you. Wow, these are only lands. Wowza. I guess we could play that. See, and here we have Rhystic Study, which again, Rhystic Study works, right? It's not like Rhystic Study is not going to be effective at drawing you cards. But personally, I would like to see you get something like Fauna Shaman here instead. We want less, more stuff for the sake of more stuff. And we want more, and we want a greater ability to choose the stuff that we're going to see, or at least check the top couple cards. Like if you found a 5, like Dragonlord Ojutai would be a better combat damage trigger. Like I would say Dragonlord Ojutai over Wrathful Red Dragon. Wrathful Red Dragon is probably, there's a lot of situations where Wrathful is stronger. I think Ojutai solves more of the problems that are endemic to this deck. And like all of these are good. Archive Dragon. No, it's too expensive for Scry 2. We want something repeatable, or we want something that will tutor. Sunbird's Invocation may also honestly be an out. You're probably gonna have to make a hard decision with at least one of these really expensive dragons, because we do need more things that are going to allow us to actually get out of the gate. I also don't think Muse is good enough. I think if Muse's primary responsibility is to let you cheat with Aether Vial and Monster Manual, that is one card in my deck works nearly exclusively with 2 other cards in my deck and nothing else. I don't think you play Realmwalker unless you have to, because I don't like changelings, but it is a good suggestion, Joe Salsa. We are going to move on to the next deck. I would say very responsible land base. You need more card selection. And I would advise you to make some hard decisions about a little bit of this top end and then a little bit of the generic kindred value pieces like Door of Destinies. Honestly, like I think most games oh, 5 or less. So this is the opposite of what you want, but maybe last March. Like, last March of the Ents is going to be a better finisher than having Door of Destinies, I think, most of the time. Like, having the just pooping out additional dragons is going to get you to game-winning damage faster than Door of Destinies is, just because you're not casting so many spells. Like, you are not casting a ton of dragons. You are casting one particularly crazy dragon on curve, and then you are cheating dragons out, which in fact non-bows with it anyway. Oh yeah, Descendants Fury. Descendants Fury yesterday. It even has a dragon in the art. This will line up perfectly with like, oh, I have a dragon. It's not the right dragon. You know, like maybe I have Corlessa and I'm not finding stuff, so I'm going to swing Corlessa in. Or like I have Decadent. Because pretty much all of your hits are going to be good if you have a dragon that's situationally bad. So that's what I would work on. Is there's not enough specific energy in here yet, although I love the premise of dragons that look cool. You will have to, much like if you were adopting a cat for the first time, make some tough calls about which dragons you think are the cutest. We're going to move on to Karma's deck, which is also listed as spooky. Having fun playing in the cemetery, not anymore. In one word, this deck is hate. I googled the primer and not the deck list. Jesus God. Graveyard hate at its finest. So this is a trauma response. This deck, first and foremost, is like the comeback you thought of 4 hours after an argument in the shower, but for F&M. Alright, we already have half of an infinite. You will get so many points if the other half isn't in here, and you stand to lose so many if the other half is. So we're on Proliferate. We're on Recursion. Stuff we're gonna proliferate. Sure. Keurig is interesting, especially if you go for like a black heavy deck. Cut Soul Ring. I'm also questioning Thrawn Dynamo when I see so many pips here. I'm specifically questioning Thrawn Dynamo over Chromatic Lantern. Sure, Mana Reflection, fuck you. This is hilarious removal. Alright. Oh, fuck. Oh, God. Oh, never. Okay, your ramp tutors are in here, too. So we have four scary tutors. Mill counterspell. Alright, then we have a ton of mill. Fractured Sanity. So we have some... Oh, Jesus. We have every version of... I mean, I guess you did say you have a ton of recursion. So I can imagine that these guys are coming back out of the graveyard. Then Mill Planeswalker and a Planeswalker. I'm not sure what this one is doing specifically, other than artifact and enchantment hate. Poison. Exile. Okay, the Yarok thing makes sense here. What on earth are you kindred? Oh, horrors, I'm betting. Yeah, 26 horrors. So we're doing horror kindred. Horror kindred to exile mill everybody. I do like that. I think my... So they're exiling from the top. And so we're definitely more reliant on... Like, we have 26 horrors, and we have 9 cards that actually say mill. So we're far more reliant on playing these horrors than we are milling, and that's probably why we don't have mill doublers. And that's probably why we have, yeah, Yawgmoth, or Kirik as well, because a lot of our horror stuff is going to be using these black pips. Username, I don't think this deck does have an identity crisis. I think this might be the first Atraxa deck that doesn't have an identity crisis. Roaming Throne would be good in here, but Roaming Throne would also be good everywhere, so I'm not going to recommend it wholeheartedly. I think if you really want to lean in to Graveyard Hate, one thing you're missing is Ashiok. Like, this one is just frankly good because you'd use it once and it's fuck you, nobody has a graveyard anymore. If that's the thing you want to focus on with Atraxa, and you're just really like, you really truly believe you're gonna top deck it, huh? We got these 5 cards dedicated to drawing a card. We're paying 4 mana to potentially draw 2. Uchulan. I don't think yeah, they are. Oh, so we do want them to have... Never mind on that first Ashiok, then. Yeah, presumably because it's a horror. To lead the horror kindred. God, 3 mana for Exile 3 does kind of hurt. And then this not being a nightmare is kind of turbo bullshit. Oh, Nissa makes horrors. I did not catch that. Thank you for getting me there. So the game plan is definitely get Umbris, do Umbris things. I like that. You have a plan. You certainly have a plan. We're going to try to win through mill. And honestly, you're showing it to the right person, because I think mill is pretty bad. So I'm always inclined to let the mill players cook, because it's simply not a very strong archetype. So we have our horrors out turn 3. Turn 4, we could play Atraxa, but it's probably not good enough. We can't do Umbris yet. I think we probably tutor for Umbris. And then... No, because we want to hold it. So turn 4, we still haven't really done anything. We could probably get beaten to death. But we'll do Sparas, play Umbris. Hope to God that Umbris doesn't die. Play a horror. We don't have anything to proliferate yet, but I don't think we need to proliferate just yet. And then I guess we Mind Crank. And then here, oh, I missed Urza's Incubator. So theoretically this could have happened. I could have played Umbris the turn I tutored for it because the horrors cost less. So let's criticize this for a different angle. Atraxa's the head because she's a horror. Let's look at the card. Let's look at why this shouldn't just be an Umbrus deck. Like, what are the things that we get for having Atraxa? Grime Gorger, Froghemoth, Generous Gift, Mana Reflection, this ramp stuff that we're doing, Enlightened Tutor, which we're searching for an artifact or enchantment, which I do think matters. We get Yarok. No, I think this deserves to be an Atraxa deck. I don't think there's... I think we're a little bit light on... Like, the thing... we are a little bit light on things to count, on things to stack our counters with. We're not that light. And... like, the thing about picking a commander that you want to use to do a gimmick with is the commander does not have to, like, you don't have to be all in on it being something your commander does. I just think that your commander should support it in some way. Atraxa's a horror, that supports it. We have a couple things that have counters, that supports it. I don't believe in Thrawn Dynamo personally. Or more specifically, I don't really believe in Soul Ring. You do that Goldfish, it did work out. But this is also very much tell me you've played against a Sephiroth player without telling me you've played against a Sephiroth player, because this shit is mean. This is the deck somebody would build after the first time they learned what Reanimate does. Because it's hateful. It's I need you to not have those cards, and I need them to also not be recurable. Some of them, sure. Golgari and oh, did you play against... Listen, I played against a Marin deck. It radicalized me in ways I will never recover from. But we're getting a moment to really, like, walk through Karma's personal trauma. But I will agree that Thrawn Dynamo and Soul Ring are legitimately questionable in a 4-color deck. I don't think you have... It's basically not a white deck. It's basically not white, so it's really a 3-color deck. Ooh! Who called that out? Who called that out? The real I'm weak, you see? Oh, is it already in the deck? I might just be stupid. Yeah, it is. I'm stupid. Don't listen to me. You already got it. Let's see. We don't have low to the ground. Would Yarok just be better as the head? That is a good question. Because I don't think we are... Because if we get rid of white, all we lose is Norn's Decree, Enlightened Tutor, Generous Gift, which we could certainly replace with something in black. And that would... I mean, Atraxa does do some nice stuff with Grind Clock. I'm partial to this deck solely because it does achieve the, like, oh no, it's not that type of Atraxa deck. But I am I do kind of believe that this is a deck that would rather be Yarok. Unless Yarok, no, Yarok is a horror too. So I do think if you wanted to pump up the jams, you would switch the commander to Yarok. Which allows you to tighten the mana base a little. You would probably get rid of these 3 counter synergies. You could keep Froghemoth and Crime Gorger, but like it's one fewer thing to tutor for, and it makes, and having this be pre-tutored makes the deck work a lot more aggressively. I don't think that this hand's playable. I think that one is. No, we don't have a green source. Oh god. Ooh, Grazilax is hot. If Grazilax is not in here, you put that boy in here. I mean, really, yes, this is a Yarok deck with a hot Angel Mommy as the head instead. And honestly, I'm not that mad at it. I think this is the, like, hilariously, Atraxa is the fairer version of this deck. Like, that is the more, oh, I'm going to do this the honest way and find multiple cards before it really wants to come together in a crazy ass way. Grazilax is insane though. Being able to either draw cards or guarantee you have another horror to play. I would cut Thrawn Dynamo just straight for Grazilax. If you do want to stay with Atraxa, I do think it's worth including a few other Planeswalkers. Mainly because, like, if you're gonna do proliferate, which you are doing, I think there are some better things to proliferate, and I think like Nightmare Muse feels like it would be very good, even though it's not horror. Nightmare Muse I think would work very well. Crafting91, thank you for the tier 1 Twitch sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. And Introspective Trash, thank you for the 6 months in a row. Sad Twitch fucked up my streak, but half a year of malding. Hey, Trash, I appreciate it all the same. Thank you. I don't know if Nightmare is close enough. But yeah, I think Grazilax would be incredible here. I really don't believe in... I super don't believe in Commander Sphere. I believe in Chromatic Lantern, Mutt as a 1-to-1 for Commander Sphere. Don't believe in Soul Ring. Don't believe in Thran Dynamo. But God, this would make me fucking mad. What about Tooth and Nail? I don't think this deck poops enough mana to really run Tooth and Nail, but it wouldn't be horrible. Like, it ramps, but I don't think it ramps terribly hard. But the more I look at it, it really, like, this is a Yarok deck. This is a closeted Yarok deck. And it's, I love I love that you resisted the urge to do generic Atraxa bullshit. I hate what you chose to do instead. I think the rest of your proliferate cards, I think this is also memeing. I think this is fucking lip service to the text box of the commander. But if we don't count... So the things you have, the proliferatable things you have, 9 cards. We have 7 cards that care about having counters on them. We have 2 cards that are planeswalkers. So having 3 support cards in our deck that only benefit just under a tenth of the rest of our deck, I think that is a mistake. I think you dump these either for tutors, things to fix your mana, things to help you draw, things, you know, things like an Ashiok. Let's see if Lively Dirge is mana value 4 or less. It's just shy on the things that you really want. So I'm not convinced on Lively Dirge, because most of the things you want are right at 5. Guilt Feeder. I don't know about Guilt Feeder because it's 5 mana and you non-bow yourself when you are successfully hating on graveyards. But I think that, like, you have a Mask Off Yarok deck here, and you have a solid Atraxa deck that wouldn't make me... Like, this would not make me fall asleep. And that is probably the highest praise I can give a deck. I would still throw up at you a little bit when you played the 2 Planeswalkers, but I think you've kept a tight number of Planeswalkers. But I would dump the Proliferate yesterday. Maybe for a Planeswalker like Ashiok, even though it's not Nightmare. And if you want to proliferate, you should have enough from the command zone. But yeah, good job. Good frickin' job, Karma. Untagged lands. And then is there anything else that would care about ripping stuff off the top? Oh, yeah. I'm joking, but this guy. This guy, listen, it doesn't not work, is all I'm going to say. That's how dumb the card is. It doesn't not work with your whole exile everything game plan. Oh. We're going to move on to Exalted Requiem, who also has a spooky deck. The deck in one word is cringe, and it says this deck has 2 rules. The deck cannot contain creatures. Are you playing... Fuck it. Did you bring a Cody deck to my stream? 2, there must be at least more planeswalkers than any other card type, including lands. Corona is the commander for 2 reasons. It is objectively funny, true. It is a psyop. Corona isn't a 5-color commander that will get me mugged before I can sit down, unlike Prismatic Bridge or Sisay, even though those would be objectively much better for Super Friends. It also implies some sort of creature kindred deck, and one that doesn't have much support. Also, I'm too poor to buy Morophon. It sets up expectations for the deck that literally couldn't be more wrong, which I can abuse in the early game to play off setup turns. Obviously, the jig is up sooner rather than later, but hopefully Operation Approximately Infinite Planeswalker-based value is good enough at that point. So, good gaslighting. The whole entire Justice League. I hate Planeswalkers for a very specific reason, and one, if you DM me on Patreon a pic of your Adderall prescription, I will give you a pass on this whole deck. $1,200. Incredible. Normal number of lands, very important. But the thing that gets me about Planeswalkers is the analysis paralysis, right? It is people being like, I'm going to kill you with value, but it necessitates that my turns are 20 minutes long. And at that point, I would rather you just knife me. TMO6 Life, thank you for coming to the stream. The deck roasts are currently being done by Patreon signups. So you can either use !roast in the Twitch chat, or you can look at the stream description on YouTube, and that will give you the sign-up information. Imagine having to play through a turn where you have 30 Planeswalkers on the board. Like, that's the thing, is at some point, you are playing Factorio. At some point, like, this deck's... the success of this deck is you playing Factorio. There are ways to mitigate that, and we're mainly going to judge this deck on whether you've effectively mitigated that. And honestly, the Commander is a half-decent way. Your Commander is moving the chains. So this is a probably... this is a more ethical Super Friends Commander than I've seen, even though it's worse, because it, like, lets people get the shit done. And they can also just swing it into your Planeswalkers. Actual win condition. Deck yourself. Remove loyalty counters to deck yourself, I'm presuming. Oh, deal X where X is Planeswalkers. I love a commander deck where you can just die to your own commander damage. Honestly, making me play against a Planeswalker deck, but telling me the trade-off is I have the opportunity to beat you to death with your own commander is great. I mean, they did not say explicitly that they never play it. They did say it is a psyop in the sense that the deck isn't focused around it. They could certainly just leave Corona in the command zone all game, which is much less based. Okay, Nicol Bolas is reasonable. You sure do have not forest. The most important land designation. Which ones aren't forests? Okay, we have board control. No tutors is based. I fucking hate this guy. I fucking hate this guy. This is relatively fair. I hate this bitch. I hate this guy. I love this guy. I hate this bitch. I hate this bitch. I hate this guy. Yes, queen. Fine. Yes, mommy. Don't know how old you are. I love this guy. I love this guy. Alright. Oop, fucking here it is. Here it fucking is. So it's 0 proliferate. Four mana, do it all twice. Oh, so Chain Veil you can just... I think with like one thing that taps for 2 mana, you can infinite Chain Veil and then take extra turns and then... Okay. The only thing that will incline me to forgive you for this is that you do have a deterministic win con. Right? Like the other thing that I can't stand... The other thing that makes me not friends with the Super Friends players is when their out is like Liliana Dreadhorde General, and they're saying like, maybe one day I'll kill you with a 2/2. But you do have three distinct proliferatable, I can demonstrate this loop and I can tell you that this loop will kill you in this way. Let me know if you want to see me do it. Don't hurt my friends. You have enough Teferis that I will allow you Teferi's protection, but it fucking hurts me. Yeah, tons of... Oh, trauma response. Good, though. I hate ETBs, honestly. Like, I would be, all the people that hate on counterspells, I would be so down to never play another counterspell in my life if creatures didn't have ETBs. That is the number one thing I counterspell for, is somebody playing dog shit ETB triggers. Walker's drawing cards. Very responsible amount of card draw. Lot of fucking ramp. Walker's supporting walkers. Monkey's Paw, the ETBs are replaced with cast triggers. Fuck! Whatever it needs to be. Okay, so 2 tutors. I would say this is pretty spooky. I don't think this qualifies as scary because this looks like it takes a while. People surely have an opportunity to interrupt this game plan. I feel disgusted that I am playing a that I am play testing a planeswalker deck. Oh yeah, you got a little bean pretty hard. We're ignoring Nicol Bolas because Nicol Bolas is my goat. He did that shit, but I was rooting for him. Free my guy. We'll take... We don't need to cover black, so I'll just take Sparras. Contagion Engine. We probably just slow roll this again, and we continue to pretend that we're fixing our mana. No, now we get this out. 3 turns of land pass. Probably 3 turns of land pass. I don't know the deck well enough to tutor, so I'm going to pretend that we're doing 3 turns of land pass into... Oh no, Tamio's not good. So we'll do Field Researcher. Do a little group hug. Then we would Reflecting Pool. Then we would Mirari's. And then we really get to going. So I think this is like... This is definitely, like, if this was a movie, right? It's not a jump scare horror movie. This is like a psychological horror movie. It's moving very slowly. Or it's getting going very slowly. But then once it's going, holy fuck. I think it's also... Your messaging on this probably determines whether I hate you or love you forever. Because if you say... Because if you just straight lie in a casual setting about what the deck is doing, that would leave a very bad taste in my mouth. You could certainly say, I'm playing a Corona deck. That is advisable. This deck is the immortal snail that kills you when it touches you. Yes, honestly, except it's not even like, because it's not trying to touch you, it's trying to touch itself. It's the immortal snail that kills you when it jerks off to completion. Joe Salsa, have a good day. Thank you for coming by the stream. So if you told people this is my Corona Voltron deck, or like this is my Corona Legends Matter deck, and then you whipped this shit out, I would be very mad at you. And this way, I would still feel very mad at you, but I would get it. Cursed Totem is a very interesting stacks piece. I do think it occupies a weird mental space because it is like, it's undeniably very powerful. It's like a poop snowball rolling down the hill, or like a dung beetle that somebody's rolling around, and then there's like a brick of C4 in the middle of it, because it is high power. It is unarguably, this is a strong deck, but also please don't punch me for like 5 turns, which is kind of weird. I also hate Teferi and love Nicol Bolas, so it's difficult to say. What I like the most about the deck is that your planeswalkers have clear jobs. I've seen a lot of Super Friends decks where people just said, oh, this was a Planeswalker. And so I put it in. And you do at least have a sense of how they are meant to cheat at Magic the Gathering. And I do like that you gave yourself a rule of it needs more Planeswalkers than literally everything else. I do want to talk about you not being able to afford Morophon in a deck that is almost, it's over $1,100. Are we not? Does your HP not work, my friend? He's $10. The motherfucker is $10. Oh, it's a meme. Okay. Got you. Understood. I would also say, in terms of, hold on, what the fuck is Possibility Storm doing here? Okay, that works for you. Is this the first legitimately... Nah, this is another PSYOP. This might be the first legitimately clutch usage of Possibility Storm. Because for you, every Planeswalker helps you. You don't care about getting Possibility Stormed. That's funny. I would say I think Contagion Engine is not as good as Inexorable Tide. It also locks everyone out of the game with Teferi. Oh yes, that's gross. I mean, at least that is a point when you can say, hey, the game's done because I've successfully locked the board. Actually, 4 mana to... Never mind. Contagion Engine is probably better than Inexorable Tide. Because 4 mana to proliferate twice is a better rate than pretty much any other combination of things you could do to proliferate twice. Don't listen to me. I am feeling nauseous now looking at this deck. This is so... It does definitely seem like 20-minute turn the deck, which I... Ugh. 0 lands. Moxfield hates your deck as much as I do. Okay, so we'll play a Triome. Play a Fountain and nothing else, because we're not doing anything for multiple turns. I'm just going to pretend this is a dual land, because I don't want to be searching all that much. We don't have another green source, but we can play a Signet, play a Lout, or maybe we shock in a green source and we like Ren and Realmbreaker, and then this is our creature. Shock that in, get this in, and that in. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, yeah, and then we boom, 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 boom. There's a lot of fucking lands, huh? Oh, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell. Okay, Ichormoon is doing what I wanted Inexorable Tide to do. Commodore Guff, good inclusion. I do want to vomit a little bit. I think if you were to make... You certainly live up to Cringe being the being the modus operandi of the deck. I think it depends if you want to win more or go into funnier stuff in terms of how you improve the deck, because you could certainly win more. I think a very good... Oh, creatureless, right. No creatures, so Frank Horrigan cannot see the light of day. Oh, well, I can just look for the other permanent types. Huh? Oh, did I click color identity instead of... There's literally inexorable... Oh, I put and. Allow partial. That's not a lot of shit, huh? That is not a lot of shit. Alright. Voyager of Ancients, thank you for the tier 1 Twitch sub. 2 months in a row. Welcome back to the dog home. How long has it been since House of Blues? Oh, dude. 3 months now? Chicago was in February, I think. Yeah, you don't want any of these. So let's think about funny cards. Right? We don't care about having creatures. We do care about stopping people from murdering us. Honestly, I would put some of the impetuses in. I think things that would... I think the things that will fuck you up... I think these cards both hit the marks of will stop people from fucking you up and will be funny. Shiny Impetus is never not funny. Psychic Impetus, probably helpful to you. And then Vows, too. So I would say Shiny and Psychic are the two best of those. I don't know if the Vows are good enough because it doesn't you don't get a secondary benefit other than it's not attacking me. Oh, curses would be fucking... I don't know why I'm... It's enchant creature. Yes, it will, Reborn. You enchant somebody else's creature. You don't care about Cursive Bounty. You don't care about that. So you want a thing that is going to give you a benefit every time. Humility might be funny. Curse of the Bloody Tome is probably too expensive. I think Curse of Opulence unit that you just called out, that's probably going to be the best one, because it's going to color fix you and incentivize people to attack other people. And let me sell it to you this way, the curses help you psyop, because cursing, like putting curses on other people, would be a totally normal thing to do in terms of incentivizing people to use Corona against people that aren't you. And so I think you could lay down a couple of these curses early and nobody would think twice about it. Humility would be fucking funny. Humility would be very rude. It would be like a very... You would have a tough time politicking your table after you put humility in. I hate that I'm helping a Planeswalker player right now. Oh, he does have Curse of Surveillance. No, I don't think he does. So I think Curse of Surveillance would also be good. I'm not sure what you would drop. You would probably shave... Oh, you can't shave walkers. Yeah, but username Corona functioning isn't... Corona functioning isn't a very important part of the deck. Like, Corona is here... Corona's here as a distraction. But I would do curses and impetuses... Alright, I think the funny way to soup this up, do not do Overwhelming Splendor. Don't fucking do Overwhelming Splendor. Please do not. Kaalia, no, we're not doing Corona Goad. We're doing Corona Super Friends, and we're goading other people's creatures so they don't kill our Planeswalkers, and then we're presumably never resolving Corona. Also, the name of your commander, like having false in the name of your commander is perfect for what this is. Someone else mentioned it earlier, but saying Corona's the false god and Nicol Bolas is the real one. I do like that. I think Bloodthirsty Blade is also good. Like, I might go away from... I might cut, like, Cursed Totem for something like Bloodthirsty Blade or one of these impetuses, unless these are in fact hyper-specific trauma responses to your table. If they are that, then you can keep them. But something like Bloodthirsty Blade or something like one of the Vows or the Curses is going to help you every game, and Torpor Orb and Cursed Totem are only going to help you at all some games, and they're only going to be clutch a couple games. We are going to move on to Mercenary Hamster, the first scary deck of the day. Play with Legos until you build the nuclear bomb. Jank Legos is the deck in one word, which is not compatible with a scary deck, so we're going to see what the fuck is up. Skynet applicable. So for a scary deck, it's sort of all bets are off. We do want anything that is thematic with the commander, and we want it to be good. So we're making an artifact creature token. We're getting discounts for artifacts. What the fuck? 43 artifacts. So many of these need to be mana rocks, or I am going to mail this deck list back to you wrapped around a brick. We've got the normal high power blue shit, $2,200. Yeah, this scares me. I don't need to see the rest of it. Storm the vault. Make treasures off of not having flying creatures. That is an aspirational... This is some aspirational shit right here. Although it is thematic. More Saheeli's. I mean, she's bad as fuck, so I'll let that go. Fucking hate Karn so much. Teferi. The Tezzerets make sense. Tezzy boy does care about our fucking god, man. Pact, Force, Fierce, Tails End, Mana Drain. Oh, Lord. Isochron Scepter. Jesus God. So we're playing bad CEDH. We're playing go to the CEDH table, get mogged by Kinnan, and then go beat up your friends because you're mad. How the fuck is Commander Sphere in a deck with Mana Crypt? Is it just every rock possible? No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Where the hell is Cloud Key? Where the hell... Blightsteel? That's a funny metalwork. Wait, it's running Clear the Mind? You gotta be smoking crack. You gotta be smoking crack. We have $2,000. We have $2,000 committed to this deck, and we have Clear the Mind. What the hell do you mean, each creature without horsemanship? What the hell do you mean, X to eat... At least you also have Crackle. Blightsteel could be the nuke. I think... Mindslaver is... This is just beginner villainy. It's frankly... Frankly, I'm disappointed. Frankly, you wanted to show me something evil. I'm seeing mid-tier evil. I need to reread this in case I'm missing a couple cards. Okay, so they have seen a YouTube short about Esoteric Duplicator and Mindslaver. That's good. I can't stop coming back to fucking Clear the Mind. Honestly, I mean, no, Thoughtcast you're probably doing spend 1 blue, draw 2. Even build a nuke, you can't even take over the tri-state area. The fact that we don't have... Oh no, we do have Joyra. Well, we don't have the other Joyra, which is kind of weird. Like... Mirror Battlesphere fucking sucks. This card is a goddamn... This is yet another Clear the Mind. We do have Mycosynth Lattice for Karn. This isn't even Storm. Like, it's not... The only things I can think of that this deck is trying to do is probably get out Blightsteel or get 1,000,000 mana and do Crackle with Power for 1 billion, or Clear the Mind. Or just rip that fucking Clear the Mind. This deck just really likes horses. And if your deck doesn't fuck with horses, this deck doesn't fuck with you. I mean, one, the fact that we don't have... The fact that we don't have this guy, you're smoking a little bit of crack. You're talking about assembling Legos. This is how you assemble fucked up Legos. And with 43 artifacts, I would argue for, that's the arena one. I would argue for this guy as well, because you're making power stones and you are getting card selection. Also, where the fuck is this card? How are you supposed to cook without an oven? Explain to me how you intend to cook with this deck with no goddamn oven, with Chameel instead. Oh, it's in the deck. Oh, do you have tags on for some things and not for others? No, where is the forge? Yeah, Psymaster Thopterus would probably be good. Sculpting Steel's alright. Hangerback Walker makes sense. Memnite, I think you are... Memnite, I think you're smoking crack. Goblin Welder makes sense. Ornithopter and... I mean, Ornithopter and Memnite make more sense to me once you have things that will actually benefit from you storming with artifacts. But you currently don't. Because other than... These two are basically just rocks right now. And they're only rocks if you get affinity. And you would rather... Like, these are the two creatures that I would drop for Lord High Artificer and Power Stone Prodigy. Like, you have very few ways to win. You have very few ways to win. And not enough card draw IMO to get you to those very few ways to win without things like Mystic Forge. What about Memnarch? Oh yeah, you want to talk about Skynet? This man is the fucking net. That's the whole net right there. Play with Legos until you build a nuclear bomb should absolutely end with you arch-enemying all over people with Memnarch. Especially if you want to do all this stuff that you're doing. Let's see, Force, yeah. And we got to get rid of Clear the Mind yesterday. Like, we get rid of Clear the Mind yesterday if decking out is a legitimate concern for you. We just need more win cons or better win cons. Like, you should not... The average... I don't think any player needs to... Mill is not good enough that the average player needs to hedge against Mill in their 99 with a card that specifically says reshuffle my shit. They need to hedge against Mill with cards that either care about having a thing in your graveyard or recur, because basically every deck can do that. You are there. I don't think there's any world in which you are currently decking yourself with this, and so this is, you know, you're bracing for a hit that's never coming. So drop that, get Urza, cheat stuff out, fuck 'em, you ball. I don't think you want Commander Sphere either. I'm going to sorcery speed shuffle somebody's deck back. Nah, we gotta play our game, baby. We gotta play our game. It is a PTSD card, and here we are healing them, Justin. I think in every situation, Voltaic Key will be more useful than Commander Sphere. We do got to get you some better artifacts to tap, though. But I do think Voltaic Key is, in general, a better thing than Commander Sphere. Where did... If only for, like, the moonshot of Chromatic Orrery. The One Ring would also be good. You're $2,000 deep. Let's not hold back 50 more. Because we're abandoning jank. You care about trinkets. Oh, is Manifold Key strictly better? Oh yeah, sorry. Do play the better version. Play the better version. Oh, I haven't been able to pick it up yet. Okay. Honestly, Liberator. Liberator too. Being able to play with Flash is too good. I had to be subjected to that like a week ago against Tabletop Jocks. Which is, honestly, Liberator is Urza's Battlethopter. You need to feel the loving caress. The loving caress of this old man and his weird claw hand. "26 lands" is also fully insane. And I am honestly fully unconvinced about Triplicate Titan. Yeah, 26 lands, 43 artifacts, most are mana rocks. Oh, Scrap Savant would also be... Scrap Savant would also be very good. You do need some gremlin energy. Like in every situation, I think Scrap Savant is better than Triplicate Titan, better than Mere Battlesphere. The one thing I've never seen happen when playing against this deck is the owner getting mana screwed. That is insane to me. Okay, we got 1,000,000 artifacts. This might actually not be like a playable or a keepable hand. We're gonna pretend this is a dual land because I'm not fucking checking their library. So I think we do Monument. Then we pay these 3 to untap it. Pay this for Mana Vault. And now we have 8 mana. Oh, so we're 1 shy of this goddamn bullshit that I wanted to do. So we'd have to wait a turn. So this is very long. Dude, a Collector Oof would just make this deck shit its whole ass instantly. Me when I discard to hand size multiple turns in a row. Okay. Turn 6. That's what 26 lands fucking gets you. This right here, turn 6, 2 lands, nothing happened. Oh, right, it was infinite because you can just untap Basalt with itself. Yeah. So Urza's Factory, bunch of dog shit. Cannot cast Mystic Remora. But we can go to next turn. Urza, Signet, Remora. I don't think Whirler Rogue is too great unless... It depends on how much of the win con is Blightsteel Colossus and how much of the win con is other shit. Like, Blightsteel Colossus doesn't need to be unblockable to very quickly cause the game to end. This is horrifically salt-inducing. I mean, this is, you have a pool noodle. This deck is a pool noodle, and in one end of it, there's a grenade. And in one end of it, there's like a 3-week-old bag of dog poop. And you just pick it up, twirl it, and then hit somebody with a random fucking end. Because 26 lands is an absolutely, like, this deck can fail to function. There are 1, 2... Not even Mox Opal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 cards that we can reliably get to as ramp, which is like 31 mana sources, which is obscenely low. So this is absolutely like, sometimes you will just sit there passing over and over and over. Skyrat, you have not missed it. You are up next. I do think Ornithopter and Memnite get the fuck out of here for things like Urza and Liberator and Urza and Memnarch And then Memnarch gives you another way to actually win the game, which you're kind of low on. Like Triplicate Titan and Mer Battlesphere, these are like incredibly fair ways to try to win at Magic the Gathering. And if you want this deck to be scary, you need to be playing much less fair. Username, thank you for coming by the stream. Hamster, thank you for the deck. Although we gotta make it scary. We gotta unclear our mind. And we gotta get some old claw-handed dudes up in this bitch. We're now going to move on to Skyrat's deck, which is silly, spooky, and scary, which I'm going to say means you don't know what it is. The second of my 3 pet decks, and perhaps the most goonish of all. Prosper will introduce you to the blockchain, whether you're ready to learn or not, and his father Rakdos is here to help. Deck in one word is alpha, just like all the NFT bros everywhere. I am bracing myself mentally for Prosper Staple Pile. $35, okay. Okay, reasonable lands. So we're going to get some card clickers. Those clickers are going to help us tap into the Exile Chain, right? Then the Exile Chain is going to mint us Demon Coins. With Demon Coins, the fun really gets started. To explain, there's an hour-long PowerPoint. 10 out of 10. Primer, non-fungible Tiefling, 10 out of 10 name. 700. Dragon D's nuts! Sure. Sure, make treasures. You're joking me with Incinerator of the Guilty. Me when I like dragons, man. I do like this. Having all these dragons and not having Goldspan does get you a little flick on your nuts. Card clickers. Okay, Theft good. Lelia very strong. Jasper is a fucking house in this deck. Plargan Asari also a house. This looks very similar to my deck. Fully not convinced on Witch King of Angmar, but I'll let you cook. Fully not convinced on Vein Ripper. Arvanox is on the theme. Fully not convinced on Kirik, but I'll let you cook. Fuck this guy. I do love not letting people gain life. I don't know what the hell you're sacrificing, though. Omae mabu shinderu. Random mean thing. Kind of random meme thing. Prosper often wants to win through pinging, so Bloodletter does kind of work. Chimil is a funny Timmy-ass card. Oh, shit. I didn't even think about the two cards working together. Yeah, Rush of Dread and Aclazotz does just kill one person. Alright. I'll let you have that. Spooky Mommy. Random good things. Corporate Hellscape. What a land base. Fuck it, 2 non-basics. 2 tutors. He's gay doing crimes. Sweaty office chair. The exiled chain itself. Good, good. Power 4 or greater. I'm gonna shit check you on Furious Rise. Tavern Brawler is good. This is a fucking meme, but Prosper is exactly where you should be playing this type of meme. What the hell are we doing with all these fucking... What are these for? I mean, both Rakdoses are hot. Both of these Rakdoses are very good includes. Kellogg is a great include. Muscle Daddy Father is a great include. Well, maybe in the context of how many crimes you're currently doing. We have Shock, we have no Lightning Bolt, and no Lightning Strike. Treasure dumps. That's true. The Fearfire Foes is a terrible fucking treasure dump, though. Fearfire Foes dumps into one creature. Same goes for Hell to Pay, to then just make more treasures. Perforos's Intervention is the most okay one, and even that is a treasure dump that gets us one big creature for one turn. Red Sun Zenith works well because it's player and reshuffles. Like, to me, these stood out as like, oh, I'm going to cast these for X equals... Like, this looks to me... I'll be real, this looks to me like somebody who's scared of exiling their own cards. This looks to me like somebody who wants to make sure that everything they exile with Prosper, they can play. We got to buck up. Sometimes you're going to lose people along the way, and that's all right. You can't play bad cards because you're afraid to lose good cards. We can't play Shock because we're afraid that our Atali might get exiled, but you keep this. This is in my Atali deck too. Facebreaker, I didn't see them, but I will go back and look for them. Nah, Facebreaker's not in here. I'm scared of having too many treasures and not enough to do with them. That's real as hell, but Fearfire Foes, Hell to Pay, and Perforos's Intervention are all not good ways to spend them. Red Sun Zenith is a good way to spend them, but like Fearfire Foes, these 3 X spells you should all replace with at minimum something that gets you to a spell you might want to cast, like this one. Hurl Through Hell is a better dump, because then you can use your treasures to steal somebody's shit. Thank you for that call out, Pika Puff. You're also missing, like... Truly, I don't know how you win other than Inferno, which isn't the worst way. You know, Inferno's not the worst way to win. Inferno is often how I win in my Brawl version of this deck. Hellkite Tyrant too. Or I'll tell you, if you want... No, I was going to suggest the Red March, but I cut that because every time I've played it, it's been bad. I mean, if you want to see, like, if you want to show people the end game of a crypto-fascist commune, that's where Torment comes in for you. That's also where Passionate Archaeologist comes in for you. A lot of wins come from the stuff I steal from other people. If you want to make it Rakdos Theft, we can make it Rakdos Theft. That just says to me every other win con in my deck is busy chewing on crayons while other people are playing good cards. So, you know, that's kind of... I also think Sheoldred is... I think Shieldred has no business in this deck. I think Grima only has business in this deck if it is a meta call against a life gain player, which if it is, I respect it. If it's not, get him the fuck out. I don't think Vein Ripper has any business being in this deck. Oh, because she's hot? Keep her. You good. If that's also... Oh, that's why Judith is in here too. Yeah, you got it, bro. Or cis or sibling of non-determinate gender, whatever. You got it though. If they're in there because they're hot. I mean, I guess Roaming Throne can stay. I would love to see a more on theme card than Roaming Throne, but I cannot deny that it's good. Judith explains the reason for the small ping spells, but she came to play because I think she's hot. At that point, just make a Judith deck too. TBH. Because right now you have this like... You have this very weird... Like half your deck just doesn't synergize with itself because Judith is here and... You have all these things that are like really, if you ever don't have Judith out, these are all such shitty things to flip off of Prosper. So it's fine if you have things that get extra good with Judith, but right now we have like 10 cards where it's like, oh, if I flip this and I don't have Judith, my life sucks. You also want... You want that for sure. Another thing for the... Revel. Okay. Maybe I can't spell. Stolen Strategy's funny. I do like Stolen Strategy. That's definitely like a cuter card than it is a good card. But I appreciate it. Oh, what's the card, you guys? Reign of Riches. I would say this thing. Particularly if you want a treasure dump. I have it in my Prosper deck. It's pretty much always a good time. And I'm down for you to keep like Dragons and Theft as the main win cons. I think Incinerator of the Guilty, either Incinerator of the Guilty fucks off, or you get me some goddamn expensive cards that you're gonna flip off of Prosper. As well as, where the hell is your Dance with Calamity? That is the only true Prosper staple. You want to show people crypto and you're not willing to advertise a little gambling? Let me talk to you about this fucking card. Listen, if you ever stop hitting below 10, you are a coward. But when you hit 12 or 13, that is the goddamn game. So this is, you flip off the top into exile, and then you can keep flipping, and if you stop short of total mana value 13 or less, you can cast as many as you want for free. If you go above 13, you get none of them, and they just go into exile. But it's very funny. Personally, big fucking fan of it. Another thing I really, really like is... I think this is like a sleeper Prosper pick. But Dual Strike. Being able to foretell this and then copy a lot of these lower to the ground spells can be really fucking crazy, especially if you're doing it on like you find some prisoners. If you do it on like Ren's Resolve, if you do it on a removal spell, every time I have foretold a dual strike, it has overperformed in that game. See, we have Lelia. Still haven't hit your favorite win con. Well, pour it on me. What's the fucking... The inevitable heat death. Oh, God, you just... Oh, Jesus. Yeah, these three. Oh, that's funny. See, that's good. Do stuff like that. I like that. That's a treasure dump. Let me see how this feels. What the fuck is that card? I think this is a land. Oh no, it's pay a life. It's a pay a life dual land. Okay, we can keep that. So 1. Oh, that's what you're missing. You don't have any fucking... You don't have any halfway reasonable ramp. I knew something was weird. So you have lands, and then you have literally nothing else that can ramp you. So if you miss a land drop, you're just turbo fucked. So I would at minimum... Hey man, it turns out things cost money. Turns out things cost money. You need currency to pay for goods and services. So here's my thing about Dream Devourer. Everybody says card's really good. It should be really, really good. I've played it in my Prosper deck for 7 months now. Every time it has come out, it has been a dead card. Mainly because Prosper wants to be doing things... Like, the point at which you have nigh infinite treasure is... the point at which you are winning anyway, and you no longer want to be foretelling things because it prevents you from casting it on that turn. Like a lot of the stuff that I play in that is good to play in Prosper, like by the time I could play this card and then start foretelling something, I would rather just cast it, or I'm trying to storm off. This is like opening hand. This is great. Everywhere else, I ended up cutting this guy, and I cut this guy for, I think, Stolen Strategy. Just because I was like, haha, theft. Julius Rinsteel, thank you very much for the Prime sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. I appreciate those Bezos bucks. Also, I'm sorry, Atticus von Schwoll, I missed your Prime sub. Thank you. Welcome to the dog home as well. Disciple of the Vault is a good option. However, that is a pinger strategy, which is decidedly different than Prosper. And this Prosper deck does not look like it wants to go for pingers. If you don't want to do... So if you do not want to dive into pingers, we do not have to. I would drop things like Witch King of Angmar. This is just like... This is coward shit. IMO, this is some coward stuff. This is just to disincentivize people from attacking you. And you don't need to disincentivize people from hitting you. You just need to kill them first. Kind of same goes for Vein Ripper. I don't think you're killing enough. These are like Vein Ripper is part of your Judith Secret Commander deck. And I don't think you want to do that. Ooh, hold on. Okay. So let me talk to you about this card as what you actually want to do with your Judith Carnage Connoisseur. let me talk to you about this. Instead of, I'm going to play a secret Judith deck and just make Death Touch pingers. Put the tools in here to do some Prosper non-deterministic storm stuff off. Make tokens, and then your tokens can be a potential out with Pitiless Carnage to refill your hand and fucking dome everybody in the face for 1,000,000 damage. You also surely want you don't need this, but if you have treasure synergies, not very many, but you have 2 specific outs that really work well with treasures. Descent into Avernus moves the chains. Like, this will get a commander game done, and that is a good thing. But I really like Pitiless Carnage. It's like, it has a huge downside because you're shooting yourself in the dick, but Prosper is a deck that can afford to shoot itself in the dick, and you can either do it with Judith, or this is another treasure dump. This is another, like, every treasure I have equals 1 card. I do like Wild Magic Sorcerer. I do like Nalfeshni. I think Keurig goes, Vein Ripper goes, Witch King goes, Grima goes. You can keep these 2 because they're hot. Fearfire Foes out, Hell to Pay out, Perforos out, Despise out, Ranger's Firebrand out, Shock out, Torch the Witness out, Cast into Fire. Oh, you keep that for Exile Artifact. Galvanize out. Suspicious Detonation, I'll give you 4 damage to a creature is fucking bad. Out. Skewer the Critics out. And then we just put in, you put in fucking Rakdos Signet, you put in Dual Strike, you put in Pitiless Carnage, maybe Descent into Avernus, you put in every fucking copy of things like Ren's Resolve, you put in Comet Storm, and then we have another treasure outlet. You put in, you probably want the Talisman of Indulgence as well. Don't put in Soul Ring. Don't listen to these people. Don't let them corrupt you. I cut Soul Ring from my Prosper deck, and it was more fun after. I'm not going to argue that it was, like, better after. It was much more fun to play. Owl Knight, the cost reduction does help, but the best case scenario being 4 uncounterable damage, like, if you want uncounterable removal, Slice from the Shadows, better anyway. Yeah, Zorn would probably be good. Zorn is definitely a little more generic, but like, we're making treasures, they will forgive you a Zorn. And then Wild Wasteland, like we said. I think this is funny in a certain deck. I think this is like, with Repercussion, actually, that's another, like, that's a backup Repercussion move. We're not running enough artifacts to care about Improvise. We got 6 artifacts in that deck. So that's what I would fix. I think, listen, I can't blame you, but you started building a Prosper deck, and then you got distracted by Booba, and you built a Judith deck that has some other stuff in it, and then you got distracted by dragons. I'm not sure what order that happened in, but this was like, you really let your 13-year-old self's freak flag fly, and you were like, I'm gonna do cryptocurrency, and then you said, holy shit, dragons are cool, and then you said, holy shit, these ladies are hot, and then you built the rest of the deck, and we gotta tighten it back up to cryptocurrency. If you still want to do Theft and Beatdown, don't put in pingers. If you want to do pingers. Put in like Disciple of the Vault, Reckless Fireweaver, Ping Pin to go with those cards. There's 100 more cards like that you'd want to have. Fucking Mayhem Devil, but that is also like, that's the factory Prosper build, and you certainly do not need to do that. I'll be honest, this combo is also, it sure is funny. It sure is funny. This has nothing to do with Prosper. And so I would say these two cards are cuttable if you find other, like Comet Storm is better than, aha, I have this unrelated 2-card combo. Ooh, I like Ensnared by the Mara. I'm putting this in my Prosper deck. I would find a slot for yours as well. In yours as well. That's hot. Thank you, Subscript. Ensnared, my beloved. And I will agree, it is on theme for Prosper to get distracted. But I'm saying, if you want this deck to be properly spooky, this deck is Uncanny Valley. It's spooky and we don't know why. But you need a little bit more ramp. You need a little bit more card draw, because right now if you, is the second you don't have a land drop, this deck fails to function. Like, this playtest I'm sure will be fine, because we're just going to sit on mana. We'll play Grima, who, by the way, totally fucking useless here. He's just here being greasy. And then we'll play Prosper. We'll flip our hot demon mommy. We'll play her. We have 1 treasure. God, I fucking love Prosper. Oh, we would have flipped Urabrask. So we'll play Urabrask on this next turn. We have a 2nd treasure, so we have 3 mana. I'm going to crack one of those treasures to get Tavern Brawler out. And then we'll flip, go to our next turn. Well, fuck, we got to tutor something. We'll get Brain Stealer because he's funny. Oh, and we would have exiled the top as well, so we'll say that went into exile. We probably Virtue of Persistence something just to not lose the mana. So now that's on an adventure. And here, see, we have this, we have Despise, which is only useful because we got both of these out. So this deck is kind of running away right now. Flaming Tyrannosaurus, also pretty good. Also good for your top end. And then don't forget about Dance with Calamity. Apex of Power, also very spooky for this. You can get color screwed in Prosper, but I think it's honestly worth the risk because this card is so hilarious to me. With that said, because I'm taking way too goddamn long, we're going to move on to Nelvi's list, which is spooky, and says, a Wendy's dumpster. How will I ever recover Mr. Maulhound by spending way too much money on decks and showing up to my LGS with a mysterious burlap sack? That's how. This deck is many things and hasn't been built yet, but I've been slowly getting cards using code MAULD at checkout at coolstuffinc.com. Thank you very much. Please, if you're gonna, I'm so down with proxying. If you do buy a trading card game product, be sure to use code MAULD at coolstuffinc.com because they do sponsor me and they will fire me if people don't use it. Returning to the primer. This rock-based landfall shitpost is different than Tropers, boasting a measly 40 lands. However, I believe this deck has infinite shitposting potential, and that's all I play Magic for. I've never played a single game with it, but I expect it to be powerful, boasting cards like Angry Jellybean, god damn it. And someone gifted me this $20 commander for my birthday. Love you as always, Mauled. Trans rights. Thank you, Nelvi. Let's see what the fuck is up. Lula's snack pack. Oh, is it fucking Throssi? Oh, Jesus. Okay. Okay. Real left, right, left with these first 3 cards in the deck. A thing that absolutely inspires hate. A funny little guy. A thing that absolutely inspires hate. Okay, so we're doing landfall. And presumably you're gonna throw rocks at people until they die. Rock. It has tags. Yeah, planeswalkers, creature. Oh shit. Almost a rock. Okay, you got a lot of lands. Fake rock. What the hell is this doing here? Okay, Death Touch. Sarenth is a really good call here. I do like that. Torbrand definitely makes sense. It's a shitpost. Shh. Frozen Rock. Whatever, another snow permanent. You're at least on snow. Okay, you are on snow basics. Icebreaker Kraken. Oko Thief of Rocks. Here's the thing. What the hell is he even doing here, though? Where's my... Because he's not helping you landfall. I don't think you have... Rock Breaker. Oh, God. Honestly, Brutaclad's fucked up. Yeah, Brutaclad is where the spooky comes out. Like, I would be laughing the entire every turn until I saw Brutaclad come down, and then you would just hear a little... Oh, Rock into Elk. Thank you. That's good. I like that. You can keep the bastard. Artifact ETB makes sense. Kappa Cannoneer makes sense. Cut Soul Ring. There's no reason in a Teemier ramp deck. You don't need it. This could be another shitpost. This could be a shitpost instead of just a rock pun. Rock Throw. Beast Within. Vandal Blast. Chaos Warp. Devious Cover Up. Interesting. Rock Winner. Hellkite Tyrant. Oh god, Pylath is fucking evil. Okay, alright. So it's 80%. It's 80% silly rock deck and then 20% landfall hammers. Rock Maker. Additional lands. Yeah, this is all pretty typical. I'm gonna drop. Me when I have landfall triggers. The third Doctor is clever. You have a couple really clever things in here, and then a lot of it is very hateful to me. All right. Rock-based shitposting. So I think there is... Do you just like crabs? Are you just a crab lover? Because otherwise, the frozen rocks, I don't know what the fuck is up with the frozen rocks versus something that has an actual landfall trigger. Like, are you You're obviously not opposed to playing fucked up landfall triggers. We got Tireless Provisioner in here. So we need to be rock focused. And also Ascendant Spirit and Ice Fang Quaddle do not make sense to me. We could do Rune Crab if you want to have landfall, literal rock right here. To an explorer, a priceless treasure. To the crab, a rock to call home. There is Roxanne, although she does not contribute other than also having a rock. Like, she also make rock, you know. That's useful. I don't know if I like Keen Sense and Curiosity on Weak UC, only because the ability on the rock taps the creature, and so at most you're going to be getting one card a turn out of it. Some affinity stuff would definitely be crazy here. Or anything that has like improvise. The point of the deck outside of shitposting is to do an interesting landfall deck. Then I would say Ascendant Spirit goes for Rune Crab, because that is at least a landfall trigger. Honestly, what I would love is to find a different token that Brutaclad would make horrifying. Because turning all the rocks into 2/1s, certainly not bad. Certainly can do some overrun shenanigans there. But I would love to make... Yeah, we're not equipping the rock, they just need to exist. I would love to get a much shittier token that we could use for Brutaclad. I mean, Omnath's definitely one of them. Merit Lage, definitely one of them. Do you have Dark Depths in here? You've got it if you have Thespian Stage. Yeah, you do. Okay, I like that. We're going to Reddit. Oh yeah, come on. What is this if not the largest rock in the world? It is a big sculpted rock splitting another rock. And honestly, to even get it done, you need 8 mana to crack it, and you need to have resolved Brutaclad, and you need to have kept Toggo out long enough to really get it going. So I would say this is a rock breaker. Plus card draw that's going to work almost every turn. So yeah, do that. In terms of interesting landfall. Yeah, Inspiring Statuary would definitely help. Especially for like World Soul's Rage. Do cut Soul Ring though. And Nelvi, I'm going to keep it a stack with you. I do love the ship posting, but you cannot tell me the point is to build an interesting landfall deck and then just have every staple landfall thing in the game. We can make it a little more interesting, particularly if the payoff is to get these Eldrazi tokens. Oh, Cyberdrive Awakener. Oh, here's how we do it. Yeah, this is how we do it. I searched the wrong color combination. I'm weak, you see, you got there as well. So we're going to do Cyberdrive Awakener, and we're going to do Blue Craterhoof. And we're going to... and you're, instead of winning with these, like, with the highly generic Simic landfall advantage state, you're just going to make a million rocks, and then the rocks are going to come to life, and you are going to beat people to death with the rocks. Does Displaced Dinosaurs work with things you don't cast? Displaced Dinosaurs would be fucked up. Displaced Dinosaurs would be highly, highly fucked up. Rock dinosaurs. Rockosaurus. I'm gonna beat you to death with my Tyrannosaurus rocks. Oh god, Junkwinder would be fucked up. I think you could cut Great Worm for one of these, like, actual rock-based win cons. So yeah, I would say started strong with the shitposting. We're certainly a little distracted, both on the shitposting side and on the, like, oh fuck. Like, at some point you said, oh god, oh fuck, this deck does need to win. This deck does need to be able to win the game. And we lost sight a little bit. And I think we can get back to it while still being a rock-based shitpost. So we can do a tap land, forest, this guy, reveal a forest or island. So we'll reveal this island. We'll bring in Tago. Oh shit! This guy was a 2-drop. That's my fault. So we'll play this out, we'll make a rock, we'll reveal this, we'll put it into our hand. We'll double major our Thrasios? No, double majoring Thrasios makes 0 sense because he only has an activated ability. So we'll hold double major, we'll just Thrasios. So boom land, make rock, land goes to hand. Power 4 or greater. Oh, so we would keep it on top. No, we would take it to hand, do Thrasios' ability. We'd scry to the bottom because this card is useless, because this card does nothing for us. We would reveal Spitfire. Got it. Yeah, I think it's too normal. I don't think it doesn't scream like that curve did not scream shit posting hard enough to me. And I think the way you scream shit posting harder is with those things that really care more about, boy howdy, do I own rocks, and boy howdy, are these rocks going to beat you to death. But I will give you props on building a very functional deck. This is a very interesting card, but I don't think it's on brand enough. I think this is another, like... Or honestly, if you want to do weird landfall, I've never seen somebody do this for landfall. So this would be a very, like... underutilized landfall payoff. So with that said, we are going to move on. But Nelvi, good deck. My only note is more rocks and saltier rocks. And honestly, you probably want, in a landfall deck, to make sure you are not bricking, you probably want this. Just because it's very easy in decks like that to consistently draw into your lands when you need engines, or consistently draw into your like little dorks when you really need a land to turn them on. This one is like a, oh, it's already there. I'm dumb as hell. In that case, even better job. Oh, do you mean already there as then you already made the edit, or am I actively smoking crack? So then Chaos Theory. Have I gaslit myself? I mean, I'm looking at... Abundance certainly wouldn't be a rock maker. You have Abundant Harvest, which is labeled very similarly and is the same effect, just a one-time use. Oh yeah, turn off tags and look for it. Creatures, sorceries, instants. You goddamn liar. How dare you come in and you try to fucking gaslight me on my own I swear to God. But yeah, put Abundant Harvest's Big Brother in. You will have a better time. Like, reliability is good. This deck, you gotta work for the win. And so let yourself work for the win and give yourself the tools to work for it. Oh, let me catch up. Frizzo TTV, thank you for the 2 months in a row at Tier 1. Welcome back to the Dog Home. I appreciate your generosity. And Concon Bay, thank you for the Prime sub. Welcome to the Dog Home for the first time. Gaslighting isn't real, Mauled. Stop making up words. Troper, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I did not recognize your game. We're going to move on to Jake's deck, which is also listed as spooky. It's a pretty straightforward Kaalia deck. The goal with any creature that Kaalia can bring is to make the table say, oh shit. Other than that, it's just the good stuff to make the deck more consistent. She was my first deck and my pet deck, so I've been working on foiling her out. So the first thing to know about anybody that says Kaalia, presumably of the Vast, is their pet deck, is that something went wrong in their childhood. Your pet deck is not showing things to your friends that make them say, oh shit, unless you want to end up on a list. Huh? Huh. And I can barely see the first 3 creatures. Oh my god, this is like somebody's Star Wars room. Oh, this is beautiful. So this is an I just think they're neat deck. Alright. Angel of Serenity. Honestly, Recursion makes sense. You're begging to get board wiped in this deck. So this looks like a deck of... This is my Hall of Fame of things I think are cool. I can certainly examine the deck from that perspective. I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. Wood. I agree with you. I hate angels, but generally agree with you. Really agree with you. I like Brain Stealer. You really don't like your stuff dying, huh? Based. Good man. He does look pretty cool. This looks like Meteor Dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh! It looks like this guy. Mommy. The tutors make sense. This makes sense because pretty much everything is flying. This is rude as fuck. Oh, right. Tags. Yeah. Let me make sure I get the tags. Fuck! What the hell? Jeweled Lotus, I think, is kind of... I think you're joking yourself a little bit. Well, I guess on the recast it makes sense. You are ferociously low on lands. Like, I know for a fact your table is not letting Kaalia hang out. Alright, you do have a lot of rocks, and then the one ring. I mean, the devil works hard. ChatGPT does work a little harder with a couple of these cards. You didn't put Skittles in, which does actually get you a point back. Animate Dead makes sense. Necromancy makes sense. I'm surprised you're not doing... I'm surprised you're not just playing Reanimate. Unless you particularly like the art of this. These are very cool arts. I don't know these cards well enough to know what they do offhand, but the vibes are immaculate. Ancient Tomb, Arid Mesa. Alright, let me playtest this to see just how screwed you are with this irresponsible mana base. So both of our lands are colorless. I'm gonna Arid Mesa. You have a Triome, right? You wouldn't fuck me by being able to fetch land without having a 3-color land in your deck, right? You wouldn't be crazy like that. We're still gonna need white after that. We cannot have OG duels. I don't play tapped lands? I respect it. So what do we need? I mean, we need white, but past that, probably the best we're gonna do is red. Local Kaalia player refuses to fix their mana. I don't play tapped lands. You don't play lands, dude. You don't play lands, period. We probably Chrome Mox, Spectator Seating, and then Ancient Tomb. And then take 2. We're floating 1, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that gets us to turn 2. We're hard casting Ancient Copper Dragon. What the fuck? So if they let us swing with this... We're in the middle of a housing crisis. Not everyone can afford lands. Look at... Did you miss the goddamn price tag? Biomushi, did you miss... Oh, you can't imprint a land? I thought the whole point of... Oh, it's a non-artifact, non-land. Then I'd imprint the Razaketh or whatever. And then same difference. The goal is to get to the turn 2 playing the Copper Dragon and then solving it from there. We'll draw the land. turn 2 we drew the land. I mean, you probably just search for, like... Let's see. Probably search for Ancient Tomb, to be honest. Oh, it fucking shuffled. Whatever. This is Ancient Tomb. Then we have Kaalia. Then next turn we put out one of our cards, and then we attempt to win the game. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a strong Kaalia deck, although you are brazenly, like, either you can't be trusted with the Ox Cord, or your table can't, if you are getting away with running 30 lands and not having infinite mulligans. Because if you start with Swiftfoot, I totally believe you that you get away with it. If you start with Giver or Mother of Runes in your opening hand, this deck does seem like it is begging for somebody to just punch Kaalia in the mouth the turn that she resolves, and then have you hang out for a while. But I do agree with all of your art choices. And I do always love when somebody has a deck that they care about so much that they go on a personal crusade to make it look exactly the way they want it to look. Personally, if you played this, I would simply shoot you in the chest every time you tried to resolve Kaalia. There is no Master of Cruelties and there is no Skittles, both of which I appreciate. You know, you're here for a long time, not a good time. You want to lock people in the rubber room, and you want to watch them slowly go insane. Forgot to draw one. Ooh. Fuck. No, we're gonna do this to ramp faster. We're not gonna be bitches. We're gonna pretend this is a land that can just tap. And then we're gonna swing and... Oh, we have nothing. Never mind. We don't even want to put Kaalia out. We have nothing to Kaalia. So we probably would have hauled instead of something else. Then I guess we put Giver out. And then I guess we fucking cope. I don't know what this does, but it got cast. Do you have basics in this deck? No, you can't even play land tax. You cannot even play land tax. Oh yeah, hey, what the fuck happened to I don't play tapped lands? Huh? Certainly worth it. Explain yourself. Explain yourself, you goddamn liar. Does... Oh, accept that card, okay. I think Claim Jumper would probably be a good card for you. I understand it's probably going to sound like a meme when mixed in with all of this other stuff. But you're so land hungry, and this one doesn't have to be a basic. And so it will potentially let you get 2 plains typed cards, which in your case would probably fix your mana base for the entire game. So all I'm asking, like, you already have at least one card that is not something you're going to cheat out with Kaalia. And so I'm just saying, you know, consider one furry. Consider one furry and put them in, and if they hit twice, you get Plateau and you get Scrubland, and then your mana is fixed the rest of the game. Would I run that over Smothering? It kind of depends, because the thing here is neither of them are on theme. So they're both kind of they're in my, like, they're both on my shit list of I wouldn't want to play these cards because they aren't actually part of my commander's gimmick. It depends on your table. If your table is truly just never paying for Smothering Tithe is probably going to be the more effective card. But like when I play Magic, I will play 2 turns behind the whole game. Oh yeah, actually Weathered Wayfarer would probably be even better, since this is search it for any land. You get hosed by it. I would put in Wayfarer even over Claim Jumper then. Both are probably good calls, because you are patient zero of why white gets catch-up ramp. I'm weak, you see. They can't run land tax because they don't fucking run basics. They could trigger land tax one time, and then land tax would stop working, because they have 1 plains, they have 1 mountain, and I think they have 1 swamp. So land tax goes off once. But Weathered Wayfarer will let them fetch a lot of very useful lands that would fix all their shit. And I am certain that their opponents are going to control more lands than they do. I don't think my sorceries are showing up. Oh yeah, you know, where the fuck are the... maybe I didn't just scroll down far enough. Yeah, okay. Damn. Do not know what this is. Tutor, reanimate. Living Death. Tutor. Reanimate. That's a sick Vindicate art. And then wheel. Oh, 2 wheels. I mean, presumably for your reanimation shit. Demonic Tutor, got it. I mean, this is... I will say this deck makes me feel nostalgic. It is assuredly not fair, but this deck is like... This deck is like almost an altar, or like some kind of emotional offering to what fair Magic used to be, where the craziest thing you could do is play a big creature that gets you more creatures. Like, it does almost give me... It's weird because it is so, like, hatefully good, right? Because it has the 1 ring, it has all these tutors, it has all these reanimate effects, it has all this fast mana, but it is honest in the sense of all I want to do is... Sorry, 1 second. Let me fart your hand out for you. And then we'll give him 1 more turn before we... So we Kaalia, we swing Kaalia, put Ancient Gold out, then we fucking wheel. This really is just like peak Richard Garfieldian Magic. It's like the most unfair, fair deck that I've ever seen. Because there's no... There's no, oh, now I'm comboing off. There's no, oh, now I'm going to lock the board. It is literally just, I like huge dudes. I'm going to play huge dudes and punch you with them. And if you have removal, you have removal. But it has just the best versions of all of that. Which at the right table, I don't hate. I kind of wish I still had that wheel now. I mean, at this point, you've probably won the game if nobody has a response, though. So honestly, I kind of like it. Like you are capital T Timmy. You are him of the I like cool looking creatures. Like this is the deck that deserves to have the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dual Disc built. Oh, you're Joey Wheeler. That's this deck. This deck is Joey fucking Wheeler to a T. Like you just have a holographic dual disc and you go, now that it's turn 3, I summon the ancient Kappa dragon, and then you just fucking try to eat their ass. And I have love in my heart for those people. You are never resolving this shit against me, but I have love in my heart for those people. And I do enjoy, I appreciate your commitment to the deck, and I look forward in 5 or 10 years where you sell it and just buy a penthouse. Or a Honda Civic, more likely. I don't know if Jessica's Will would go hard here on week you see, unless their opponent, their ops have a ton of cards in hand, because when you impulse draw, you prevent them from being castable with Kaalia, and a lot of things that aren't castable with Kaalia, it would hurt you most of the time, because most of your creatures are going to need to be cheated out with Kaalia. I call it my retirement fund. Dangerous business with how Wizards of the Coast moves, but whatever justifies this little act of self-love, I will okay. You may be a third-rate duelist, but I will still say this is a second-rate deck. You're close. You're close to greatness. God, I fucking love that deflecting SWAT art. God, this really is a Joey Wheeler-ass deck. This is like the most, like, holy fuck, that's so cool. Why does it synergize? Because I can play it. Oh. Bloodthirster would be... You don't have anything that's the time wizard, but as soon as you got a time wizard, then it would be the full Joey Wheeler. It is kind of Seto Kaiba because of the dragon. Whole deck is serving cunt, to be honest. Like, this is cunty, this is cunty, this is cunty. That's cunty. So's this one, so's that one. Same. Same. You're serving mad cunt with this deck. Omega8520, thank you for the Prime sub. Welcome to the dog home. I appreciate those Bezos bucks, my friend. We're going to move on to the last deck of the day, which is Sverti's deck, Silly and Spooky. Blue-black, token evasion, or tax evasion and token spam. What is it in one word? It is weird. Azorius Artifact. The basic idea of this deck is generating enough tokens to overwhelm opponents' defenses and win. Use an Isochron Scepter Tutor combo to get one of the most well-known artifact cheaters. This is Manic Pixie Dream Girl weird. This is, aren't I so kooky when I go to Starbucks and I order a Frappuccino? You mean to tell me my Azorius Urza artifact cheatery deck weird? In no world. Okay, Bronze Guardian, Tempered Steel, Steel Overseer. Yeah, these are fucked up. I'm not like other decks. I play Force of Will, not Pact of Negation. Fair and balanced. Emery, Enlightened Tutor, Fish, Mystical Tutor, Fabricate, Skull Clamp, Sad Robot, Rhystic Study. Silly has gone out the window 18 cards again. I'm not like other decks. Where's my Mana Crypt? Oh, my bad. I'm not I'm not like these other decks. I play Krark Clan Ironworks. I play Liquimetal Torque. And then I Psych Rift you. This is a goddamn word cloud of other artifact decks. At least this one does have Mystic Forge. This is scary for sure. Oh, somebody's gotten milled out before. And they have Tron. If you listen, if you ever told me I'm gonna play my weird artifact deck, and then you imprinted Enlightened Tutor onto Isochron Scepter turn 2, my soul would leave my body. My bones would burst from my skin to go search a new host that hadn't perceived the things I had perceived. If you told me, check out my weird little token spam deck, and then hit me with turn 2 Isochron Scepter, turn 3 Tutor Anointed Procession, turn 4 Tutor Encroaching Mycosynth. After a turn 1 Mystic Remora. Implying they don't do it turn... Oh wait, do they have Ancient Tomb? I don't see it. I don't think they have... Although, to be fair, they could hit me with the Land, Soul Ring, Isochron Scepter. This the type of deck to make a motherfucker put Collector Oof in every deck they own for the rest of time. That's what... It doesn't have Blightsteel, can't be comp. Blightsteel might bring the power level of this deck down. Blightsteel would bring the power level of this deck down a fair bit. Holy fuck. I mean, Dispatch is at least on brand. Cloud Key, yeah, sure. It does not, and it should. This deck should definitely be running... Well, let me turn the tags off. And let's search by mana value to make sure they can trigger it enough. So this is 1, 2... Why are these 2? Why is this shit... Oh, it's in columns. Okay. So 1, 2... Nope, not even 2. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8... 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17... 17... Oh, I missed the button. Thank you, goats. But regardless, so 17 or 18 things that will trigger Simulacrum Synthesizer honestly might not be quite good enough. It wouldn't be bad, particularly if you're tutoring so much. But it does kind of look like... I'd be interesting to see if this deck does just fall apart if you don't get the right early shit. So let's Island, Ponder, 2, 3. Oh, I think we have Preordained. We're shuffling that. Thought Monitor, sure. Next turn, we'll do Plains, Torque. Do Island, I guess hold Mana Drain. play this guy. Island. At this point, we can now Thought Monitor. Draw 2. Okay. So this is yet another pool noodle that sometimes just has a grenade in it. Because the deck is either silly the deck is silly, and then sometimes I draw Isochron Scepter and I just fucking kill you. I'm typically not a fan of that. I prefer decks where like you have a little more control over how the lines are going. So what can we do to fix these horrifying vibes? Because this is not weird. I think if you want a deck to be weird, you drop things like Scepter. Not even, I mean, you can't even afford to drop Forge. But like Remora, Rhystic Study. Do you have an activated ability on your commander? You do. We got to take the Chat GPT brainworm out of your head, though. We got to get... You have the EDH Rec brainworm in you, and we need to remove it. I think it's tough to make a weird Urza deck. I think what you have to do is you have to pick an artifact gimmick that isn't specific to Urza, but is something Urza can support. So like that Atraxa deck we looked at earlier, that's the only way to make a weird Urza deck, is have it be something that Urza does help, but is not just... Like, you can't just say artifact tokens, because it is almost near impossible to make that interesting. Mono blue Urza equipment. True. The Astartes thing probably doesn't work. Palm Trees, thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate those Bezos bucks. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. You could double down on like golems. You could try to sell your table on like Urza, but he sides with the Phyrexians. Because at this point, we're not even looking for a way to make the deck better. We're looking for a way to make the deck worse, but have a calling in life other than I've played a bunch of good artifact cards. And we can't get away with that in every situation. Like Emry, Lurker of the Loch, is undeniably synergistic. It is undeniably on brand for what this deck wants to do, and I personally fucking hate what the deck wants to do, but I will help you make it better. Same goes for Steel Overseer. Same goes for Lochiel. Cyberman Patrol is good. Flavor Success is the only true victory, exactly. Do I hate tokens or artifacts? Yes. Yes, bro, you caught me. Like, could you... Does that duplicator work with all artifacts or only non-token? Oh, no. Simulacrum. Okay, it's just any mana value 3 or greater. I mean, I think the way to go is win with Karnstructs. And I think, like I think for card draw, what I would recommend over Remora and Rhystic Study is, I think this was in there considering, but Psi Master Thopterist. Like, yes, it is not as good. It's not as good, but it does actually give a shit about you playing artifacts, which is more than we can say about Rhystic Study. Thought Monitor is good. Autumn Soldier is very good. Because this lets you start copying Urza a bunch, which is really nice. We're reforming a supervillain. We're fucking trying to, man. I like Cyberman Squadron. Is Phyrexian Metamorph in here? Shimmer Dragon, yes. I think Shimmer Dragon would be great in here. I think it would probably be better than... Maybe you don't cut a creature. Maybe you cut, like... Maybe that's what you cut Isochron Scepter for. Like, I really think... Here's my argument against Isochron Scepter. In the games where... The games where you don't get Isochron Scepter... like, out and handled... are so vastly different... than the games where you do, or they look like they will be, and that makes it very hard to know when this is an appropriate deck to play. Because it's one thing to be like, oh, I have the nuts, versus having the nuts being the difference between on turn 6 I'm going to have lethal damage versus turn 3 you need to farewell me or the game is over. Like this... like, what cards would we grab? Like, the ideal hand, we probably have... Let's say we have 2 or 3 lands. We definitely have Isochron, we have Soul Ring, and we have Enlightened Tutor. So we would play land, pretend that's Soul Ring, pretend that's Isochron, imprint Enlightened Tutor, pass. Next turn, we would Enlighten Tutor. Because you may actually be okay. Well, I mean, that's the thing, is we'd probably tutor for Rhystic Study, right? We'd probably just tutor for, like... Or Mystic Remora. Or this, like, generic value piece. Like, the thing that makes me not like this Scepter Tutor combo is the fear that you are just... that any game where you do get it, you are tutoring for the same thing every time. Like, I think Artificer class easily more flavorful than Urza. You could also do other Urza. And then even if you want the deck to be like, you know, I know that I keep beating this drum when I talk about having flavorful decks, but if you are doing Urza stuff, like this is what you want it to be. This is, I'm going to make artifact creature tokens, and then I'm going to overrun you. And we are already, like, we've already departed from the idea of we're not going to use good cards, right? No matter what we do, if you want to not use good cards, you know, we're dropping Emery, we're dropping Mondrak, we're dropping Esper Sentinel, right? We've jumped that shark. And so if we've jumped that shark, we should at least jump that shark for things that are like on the level of the goal of the deck, rather than I get to tutor whatever I want every turn of the game. So that would be, yeah, that's my critique of this deck, is this is not weird. This is not weird. It is not kooky. It is not silly. It can fail to work, but this deck working is a word cloud of the artifact theme in EDHREC beating you to death. Like, as a fun little exercise. Alright, so we've got the second most common commander for the theme. We don't have this, though, so you get a point for that. Oh, these are new cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we don't, like, so it's not weird. If you want it to be weird, we have to give up on a lot of the good stuff. And if you want it to be good, we gotta not pretend that it's weird. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Like, the deck really is sponsored by EDHREC, and that makes sense because it's a very broad commander. Artifact tokens, very broad and explored topic, very difficult to make something that is actually kooky. So either be the villain, or do like what Shuda did with their Tarkir deck, and just be like, I'm only gonna use Brothers War. Or like, I'm only going to use things. Because somebody made a deck that was like only Jace, where every card had Jace in it. So just be like, everything has Urza in the name, the art, or the flavor text. And then you can get something that's weird. And it'll probably still function because Urza's just good. But that is going to bring us to the end of today's stream. Thank you all for hanging out with me for so long. Thank you to everybody that watched, followed, and subscribed. I'm going to make sure I didn't miss any of those. I think I got you, palm trees. We will be live again Monday playing Magic the Gathering Arena. I hope to see you then. I hope you had a good week. I hope you're having a good weekend. And remember to stay toxic.